Hey, Ben here with H90 Productions, and welcome to the podcast for Sunday, May 18th. I hope you had a great week. We're going to dive into post-production updates on Mango 2 and some behind-the-scenes updates on Mango 1. But I wanted to just first mention that how cool was the Superman trailer that dropped this week. I really love events like this because it feels like a big cultural event where lots of people are interested in something like this, and I love jumping into the comments and seeing how it's making everyone feel, and of course there's a lot of haters, as there always will be, but I just think it's so cool that something like this, that's like a comic book or a superhero, has such a major impact on the nation and the world, and it just kind of makes me think about how I got into comic books and what my kind of journey has been with comic books, which was short-lived because as a kid I was very into comic books, but then my attention turned to sports for whatever reason, and athletes kind of became my superheroes. But as I've gotten older, I've find myself being drawn back into like comic books and superheroes. And I feel like I'm like at a moment right now in my life, literally this week, where I'm about to embark on this journey of rediscovering comic books. And what I mean by that is it's been so long since I've really picked up a comic book and flipped through it, let alone gone to a comic book store. But I think there's different reasons for that, and this project that I'm working on, the Mango audio drama series project, is a big part of that, because ever since I kind of started thinking about this project, I thought it would be such a great fit for a comic book. It's all audio, so there's no visual elements except for like the cover art and design elements, which are illustrated. So there you go. That's a little tie into the possibilities of it being a comic book down the line. But I really think that eventually the magic will be bringing this audio story to life visually somehow, some way. Now that's not going to happen until after Mango 2, but it's something I think about a lot. And of course, when I see something like Superman, the trailer pop up, the connection there is not like Mango's not like a superhero, but the connection is comic books and that kind of traditional storytelling with these really beautiful visuals. It's like a visual screenplay in your hands. And I know there's been a lot more development with like digital comics, which I really have know nothing about. But this week, as I've been rediscovering comic books, I've been Googling like, okay, where do I start? Like, where do I dive back in? And one of the first questions like coming back was, is it digital or is it paperback? And for me, it's definitely going to be, paperback. I like feeling the physical thing in my hand. But the reasons I think this is all bubbling up is because of this project, for one. But also, I think there is something about the stability of comic books and how they are standing the test of time. I mean, just look at this Superman trailer that just dropped. It's like reliving your childhood all over again. When I was a kid, it was very much Superman and Batman. Now, I wasn't like deep into comics. I kind of was like interested and had a lot of comic books. I think the comic books I were drawn to were Wolverine, Captain America, but I guess it was always like Superman or Batman. You kind of had to choose or whatever. And I think as a kid, I was a little more into Superman, but as I got older, I think I was drawn more towards Batman. Maybe that's because of the movies and stuff like that, but it's fun to see this new Superman coming out. I love seeing Crypto the dog. But where I was going with that is one of the reasons why I think this is happening now, and I felt a little weird about it. I'm like, is this like a middle-age crisis or whatever? But I think it's about comic books, and these stories and these characters are stable. And as I've gotten older, so much has changed in my life. And as I mentioned, I kind of became more interested in sports as an older kid, and then up until even now, I definitely am a sports fan. And I think something that has drawn me back to comic books is the stability, because, for example, my childhood baseball team is the Oakland A's. They're gone. They're moving to a new city, and they're going to be in Vegas soon enough. A athletic division I participated in, I played in. I was a D1 baseball player at Berkeley. Go Bears. I played in the Pac-10 conference. That changed to the Pac-12 conference, and now that conference doesn't even exist anymore. They're playing in the Atlantic Coast Conference. And so as I kind of questioned this, why am I being drawn back to comic books? It made me realize that I think there's something about the stability there, and like how these characters are evolving, but they're still like Captain America is going to be Cap, and Wolverine's going to be Wolverine, and unlike a lot of things in life, there's stability there, and that's something that's fascinating and becomes kind of like mythical in a way, like these characters. So that's what's happening with my comic book journey right now. More to come on that. I'm definitely going to be ordering some stuff and just kind of getting back into it. If you have any advice about it, please like throw it in the comments. Let me know. I think the first book that jumped out at me that it sounds like something I'm going to be interested in is Old Man Logan, which I had I didn't know anything about until literally yesterday when I was Googling how to get back into comics. So, like, what are the top 10 ones I should read if I like this, this, and this? And very excited about that. The character Mango definitely has a little bit of Wolverine in him. He's kind of a lone wolf, tragic past character. So excited about that. More to come on the comic book journey, but I just feel like it was this weird, what's wrong with me first? That was the first question, like what is happening here? But as I began to understand it more, it makes perfect sense. So excited about that. Look forward to discovering new comics, revisiting old ones. I know I got a stack of comic books stashed away at my parents' house, which I'm going to have to go dig out. But like I said, more to come on that. So let's jump into the updates, or I'm calling this segment kind of the captain's log on H90 Productions and what happened this past week, or what I've been working on this past week. And friendly reminder, this is something I do in my spare time. I have a full-time job. I work in production. I work on a marketing team, but I work in video production. That's what I do during the day, I guess. Like my day job, I guess. So I do this in spare time, after work's over, before, in the morning, evenings. Right now it's Sunday. So of course I wish things could be moving faster, but it's also kind of a, passion project, hobby, you could say. So just trying to enjoy every step of the way. And that is a huge purpose of this podcast, is to talk about each week what's happening, and to share with you and bring you along the ride, but also for me to kind of keep myself in check and give myself some credit for what I worked on this week, I guess. So let's start with Mango 2. This is the follow-up to Mango 1 feature-length audio drama. I just started the sound design process last week, and to refresh on that, my process with sound design begins with basically wrangling all the sound effects I'm going to need, because once I get into the sound design process where it gets a little messy and things are moving around and I want to try a lot of different stuff, I don't want to be jumping in and out of sound effects platforms, pulling things from libraries. I want it all in my editing platform for me to easily test things out. So I am in the process of, I think I've gotten through, let's see here. I've pulled sound effects for scenes up through scene 9. There are 56 scenes in Mango 2 as of right now. So another thing that's part of this process is I have to go through each scene and make a shopping list for all the sound effects I'm going to need. my shopping list right now goes through scene 15. So at some point I'm going to, I kind of like doing the sound effects listing or finding sound effects like in the evenings. If I'm like watching a game or something, I can do it on my laptop because I'm going through the script and just writing down, oh, I'm going to need that sound effect. I'm going to need that sound effect. Right now I'm looking at scene 15. This is going to be a spoiler alert, but I'm going to need a dirt bike. I'm going to need someone mounting on a dirt bike. I'm going to need the dirt bike starting up. I'm going to need dirt bike engine revving. I'm going to need dirt peeling out from underneath a dirt bike. So those are sound effects I don't have from Mango 1. And I'm not like a sound effect. I'm not like a professional sound designer. So I don't have like a huge library of sound effects already. Mango 1 was like the first thing I've really ever like sound designed. Like I don't know if it's called professionally because I'm not getting paid to do it, but like on a large scale, I guess. So I have to do that for each scene. And I guess I could go in there and sound design a little bit and bounce back and forth. And I might do that as we move forward. But I once I get in a rhythm of finding sound effects, which is kind of it's a tedious process because, you know, you're listening to a lot of stuff that isn't going to work. Like, so, and I'm not sure if you've heard the term before, but like you can get ear fatigue listening to stuff. Like this is a huge reason why I don't listen to music when I'm driving around in my car, sometimes with friends or whatever. Like you're just sitting in your car, like doing nothing. I'm like, yeah, because I'm listening to stuff all day long. Like right now I'm listening to my voice. When I'm editing, I'm listening to people talking. When I'm sound designing, I'm listening to music and sound effects. So when I'm like working out or at the, you know, riding my bike to the beach in my car, I don't listen to anything. So it's because ear fatigue is a real thing. So when I'm listening to sound effects, you're just going through like dozens and hundreds of sound effects to find that one little nugget that works. And it can get exhausting. You know, you're listening to all this stuff that's like, oh, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. Ooh, that one works. I'm going to put that in the cart. We're going to purchase that one. So that is what's happening with sound design. And then also in that same, the same sort of stage, I'm also looking for music. And that was a really exciting moment this week because I found some music for a couple scenes that just like, it's so perfect and so exciting. And I even dropped it into the editing timeline. So I hear the dialogue and the music. And man, I was getting a little emotional for one of these scenes because the music was like working so well. And I kind of was like, you know, my eyes were getting a little, just getting some allergies going. So it's so exciting hearing that stuff come to life. It's a slow, tedious process, but it's just one of these things where it's like one thing at a time, just one brick by brick. It can get very overwhelming thinking about like I only have 15 scenes laid out here where I've listed all the sound effects I need, and there's 56 scenes, but I just have to think about it scene by scene, line by line, sound effect by sound effect, little by little. And, you know, you get down the line and you look back, and this is what happened on Mango 1, and you look back and you're like, oh my God, like I put this whole thing together. It's amazing. It's a great feeling. So that's the update on Mango 2. Just kind of, you know, it's a grind, but it's a lot of fun finding the right sound effects and finding the right music, because it's almost like finding the actor when you're in auditions and casting. When you hear that actor, you're like, oh my God, he or she's like, that's perfect. It's same sort of thing. When you hear the sound effect, you're like, ooh, that's the right exact sound I wanted for the scene, for that moment. So that's Mango 2. The update for Mango 1 is exciting. I was just working on this morning, but I'm about to launch, and I wanted to do this last week, but just ran out of time. It's like, it's balancing these two things. And you might be asking, well, why don't you just work on Mango 2? These things are like dovetail together, like building the foundation with Mango 1 and telling that story with how it's made will roll into when Mango 2 is released. So it has to happen. I can't just push Mango 1 down the line with all the behind the scenes stuff, the story I want to tell there. So I'm hoping that by the time Mango 2 comes around, when I start pivoting into talking more and more about Mango 2, like all that stuff there is all the stuff from Mango 2. Sorry, all the stuff from Mango 1 is there. So when people are exposed to Mango 2, they'll come and see Mango 1 and all the behind the scenes, and then we'll just rinse and repeat and think about Mango 3. So Mango 1, I was just working on the teaser for the making of series, which is so crazy looking at all that footage. I almost don't even recognize myself. I had long hair and I guess my beard's kind of big right now, but looking at that footage. So this footage is the making of footage. So I've released a series on the YouTube channel, on our H90 Productions YouTube channel, called Inside Mango Dead Series. That features interviews with the cast and myself, kind of reflecting on what the experience of Mango 1, Mango Dead Series. The making of stuff is actually me on set, pulling out my camera or my phone during production, after a casting, testimonial videos after we recorded stuff. So it's really it really is the making of stuff, you're real time in the moment. This was how it was made. And there's just so much footage and there's so many stories to share there. So I just kind of got done with a rough edit on the teaser, because I'm going to release a teaser and then I'll start releasing full videos of the making of series, which will include stuff about the writing and development, casting, casting in the moment, me talking to a camera saying, okay, I'm about to, audition for this role. Here's how I'm feeling about the people we're seeing. And then after the audition, I turn the camera on and I talk about what happened during the audition and how I felt about how it went, and et cetera, et cetera. And so it's really very thorough making of content, if you're into that kind of thing. And then once that series is up and running, I will turn my attention to a behind the scenes series. And you might be wondering, what the hell's the difference? They sound like the same thing. The behind the scenes series will be much more unedited, raw footage. So let's take an audition for an example. An audition for the role of Dr. Fox with Alexandra Cruz. The making of will be me kind of talking about what it was like meeting Alex, immediately after the audition, how I felt about her audition, how I felt after her callback, how I felt during the callback, and then showing the callback footage, audition footage, and all that. The behind the scenes footage will be the actual footage of the audition, of the callback, where I'm just going to roll the tape and you can just sit there and watch how the audition went and how the callback went, and then do the same thing for when we were recording scenes, and I'll do that with all the actors. So it'll be much more kind of fly on the wall stuff. So there'll be 3 kind of series attached to Mango 1, and hopefully most of that stuff is up before Mango 2 comes out, and then Mango 2 will come out, and then boom, we'll do the same thing for Mango 2, and then spoiler alert, I've already been thinking about Mango 3. I know it's early, but I've been thinking about the storyline, and it's something I feel like I have to do, to make a trilogy with this thing before, who knows, thinking about maybe making a movie. I don't know. We'll see. We're getting a little way ahead of ourselves here, but this is a production. This is a production podcast, and these are the things that I'm thinking about as an independent creator trying to start my own production company. It's not just about Mango. I want to make feature films. I want to make movies. This is the beginning, and I'm very excited and just so happy that I've discovered the audio drama space, because it's allowed me to kind of sharpen my tools a little bit, figure out how to tell a feature length story, how to write that, and how to produce it just with audio. But okay, it's one step. It's basically it's practicing. It's practicing the craft. And I think by the time I get done with 3 Mango audio dramas, I'll be primed to be making a feature film of some sort. Not about Mango, of course, because I couldn't afford that unless something crazy happens between now and then. But H90 Productions will produce a feature-length film. You heard it here first at some point down the line. That is all. Let me just check my notes here. I think that's all I got for this week, guys. Yeah. Let's just real quick. Next week, it's going to be deeper into the sound design process. Going to, continue putting together lists for each scene. Going to continue shopping for sound effects, and I'm going to keep finding music and just laying these. Sorry, I got a little hold for sound here. Going to continue just putting this puzzle together piece by piece. And then that making of series for the teaser for the screen just went off. The teaser for the mango. Oh God. The teaser, this is why I'm doing this, to like practice this stuff, to get it all out, because like there's a lot going on. So the teaser for Mango 1, for making, for Mango, wow. Do you hear that? So loud. The teaser for the making of Mango Dead Serious series will be dropping soon. Oh my God, that's a mouthful. So that's what's coming up next. We're right at 20 minutes here. That feels like a good amount of time. I'm going to try to keep these 20 minutes or less. But that is it for now. I will see you next week. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay safe, stay tuned, and thanks for watching and listening.